all but a move. Coming to you live from the Phoenix Holding Studio, it's Late Night Live with not Donald Trump. Tonight, we welcome Alex from InsuranceFi. Plus, some degenerate gamblers. And a whole bunch of crazy apes. Featuring Jean-Baptiste and Steve Huber. Please allow me to introduce myself. Johnny. Thank you. Your wonderful audience. Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you. Okay, stop clapping. Good evening, ladies and DJs, and welcome to another very special episode of Late Night Live with Not Donald Trump, where I have the honor and privilege of hosting tonight's show from the lavishly luxurious Phoenix Holding Studio. I'm, of course, your host, Not Donald Trump, as well as just a regular businessman and a degenerate investor. Our guest tonight is Alex from InsuranceFi. Thank you, Alex, for joining us here tonight in the Phoenix Holding Studio. Now, normally I'd say it's a pleasure to meet you, but I already know who the fuck you are, so how the hell are you?
Cheers, man. Cheers. That's a hell of an intro. The best I've had probably in all my time hosting AMAs. I can only say that I'm eager to start this. And as I've said, pretty much the night shift, I'm booked for the next 6 hours. So definitely let's fucking go. What else is there to say, my man? I'm looking forward to this. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. First of all, because you know me. Second of all, because you're hosted by Donald. And third of all, because you know that what I bring is usually on the positive side. For you to decide, of course, at the end of this AMA. Back to you, Donald.
Hell yeah, bro. That's going to be a winning combination. I'm totally looking forward to this. That being said, we're so happy to have you back with us. Now, before we start, I just want to give a quick preview of how it's going to work. We'll have an open floor after my questions are done, at which point we'll be allowing the rest of the participants to raise their hands. Until the time, the rest of these beloved community members will remain muted. For those who are listening, to keep things organized and to ensure that your questions don't get lost in general conversation, please wait until after I have announced that the floor is open before posting any questions or raising your hands. If you have a question that you'd like to ask via text, please post it in the text chat and tag me at JohnLtronDump once we've opened the floor for questions. In the interest of time, please ensure the eliminating questions to one question per post or hand raise. And just a reminder, those of you listening, that absolutely none of us here are financial advisors, and you should always do your own research. Tonight, lucky listeners have the chance to win a portion of BUSD for the best question asked either by voice or by text during the open floor segment of tonight's show. And we all know how exciting that always is. So now that we got all that out of the way, Alex, are you ready to begin?
Go for it. Go for it.
Excellent. So to start us off here, before we talk about it itself, let's know a bit more about you. Now, for those of you listening in, if you already been part of Phoenix Holdings for a while, you will know that Alex is also one of our absolutely talented AMA hosts here as well. So it's interesting to see him on the other side of the microphone for a change. But for those who may be new to Phoenix Holdings, of course, that begs the question, who the hell are you, and why should these DJs trust you or your team with their hard-earned beans?
I mean, my man, definitely you shouldn't actually. The only person that you should trust is yourself in general. But again, why should you actually? And what I say, well, I mean, when it comes to my experience, I'm not going to go through the same crappy old story with how I got rugged on a project 2 years ago. What I'm going to say is, at first, I thought every project was going to be a successful one because I heard about SafeMoon. It wasn't the case. It went up, it went down. But the luck for me came in the fact that I actually met some nice people. They kind of walked me through the ins and outs of crypto. This is a contract. This is how you can check it. This is BSC scan. This is Ethereum, so on and so forth. And from there on, I started gaining some trust in the market, some confidence in myself. Started to gamble, started to figure out how to divide my portfolio, risk management, so on and so forth. Which kind of brings us to 6 months ago when Phoenix actually was kind enough to ask me, would you like to host an AMA? I said, okay, let's give this a try. After doing so, here we are. I'm actually 90% an AMA host these days and 10% an investor because the time doesn't allow me to research. When I say 10% investor, I mean DGen gamble. All that I do is DGen. I'm still waiting on that Bitcoin bottom. Should it be here today, tomorrow, whatever, I'm prepared, got my stables. Yeah, definitely. So this is who I am. This is what I do. How about the team, you're asking? Well, the team and I got introduced through a mutual connection, someone big in the space. I'm not going to name them because it's not relevant, but he knew me and the team, and they said, listen, you guys could actually be a match. They got introduced to myself through an AMA as well. And they said, listen, you have good speaking skills. Professional speaker is exactly what we're looking for. Can you help us? My question was, let me see what you're bringing to the table. Because, I mean, first of all, if I cannot see the benefit, I'm not going to be able to bring it forward. Well, they got me, through the research stuff, the white paper, the documentation, saw full badge, KYC, audit, pretty much everything. I don't really care about their real names in case you guys are wondering. I don't know if their names are the ones that they presented. I never do. You guys see me as Alex, but maybe my name is Mike or John or whatever.
Or
so
Bob.
Names are not really, or Bob. Names to me are not really relevant. What I wanted to know is what have they been up to? So, I mean, I don't even know. They've been a part of the space itself of crypto since 2016. No big projects named, just that they have had many crypto-related jobs. And being through the ups and downs on the market, they felt that this is the particular moment. And it's actually the particular reason why they have faith and confidence in this market. It's the proper way of developing blockchain applications from real life and bridging them over to the smart contracts. No matter how much volatility you're going to see in the space, they think that the functionality is always there to be developed. It's only a matter of time, community, interests, pretty much all put together. In terms of the team, as I've mentioned, highly esteemed team of programmers, marketing experts, talent researchers, so on and so forth. 14 members in total, 3 research and development members, 4 coders, 2 designers, 1 accountant, 2 content creators, and 2 marketers. These are the guys between InsuranceFi. Let me know, Donald, do you want me to cover how did they come up with the idea, or you want to skip and go through the questions?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, first off, that is an absolutely stacked team, and good God, I lost track already about how many people are on that. But yeah, how did everybody, and I mean everybody, Jesus Christ, how did they all come together, and then how did the idea of InsuranceFi come about?
Well, I mean, how did they come up, ended up in this particular formula? 3 of them knew 2 of them actually knew each other from a past collaboration, from a past crypto-related job. And from there on, one of them was the coder and the other one was the research and development member. And they thought, listen, we have an idea. I mean, they thought about, and I'm going to actually explain how they presented this. How did they pitch it to the other components? They started to search for people that could code, designers, accountants, content creators, marketing people, people with connections that would allow them to expand. So once they found those connections through other projects, through other communities, and so on and so forth, they said, listen, this is what we've been doing. So for the past several months, we're talking, this was happening I think it was in March, and they started to review projects in January. So about 6 months already. We've been examining hundreds of DeFi projects in order to try and determine the reasons why they go up, why they go down, or why they get stuck. Lately, there's a trend actually in the space where projects actually get stuck at a certain level without anything actually happening. You're expecting either a dip or a bump in the chart or some utility, but nothing goes up and down. It just gets stuck to a certain level, and they try to find a reasonable explanation for that. Basically, the straightforward conclusion to this, from their opinion, was that the market needs a protocol to be built with attractive returns, which pretty much everybody needs and wants, in order to allow investors a chance to win, no matter how the market conditions are evolving, and on the protection side, to have that extra layer of confidence. I'm going to cover that on the insurance protocol for you guys to understand. Because they have some experience within the financial and insurance matters as well, they thought, listen, as a combination of the two, let's build the InsuranceFi and let's add a protocol as a sustainable staking platform, but with a financial instrument to protect the investment. Think about it this way. When you're staking, your concern is not how much you will be earning at the end of the time, at the end of the period of staking. You're pretty much, the biggest concern is, what if the price drops? I will be getting 50% on my investment, but my investment is already down. So that 50% is barely probably going to help me mitigate the impact. Is it going to help me? And your mind starts to go, south probably. So this is what they
can you actually get your initial investment back out in the first place?
Pretty much, my man. So I mean, but by looking at that perspective from an honest investor, they thought, we're going to build an IFP, the first financial protocol of its kind that will allow you to stake, will allow you to earn that APR, and also add a layer of confidence by protecting your investment. This is pretty much how they came up with the idea in a nutshell. And from there on, up to you, my man. How do you want to proceed further?
Now, before we actually get too much more into the project, one thing I'm curious just about an aside, is that you've obviously been in Phoenix here doing hosting AMAs for quite a few months now. So that being said, how does it feel for a change being on the other side of the microphone? And is this your first time representing a project?
That's actually a good question, probably for the people that don't know me. I mean, it's definitely, it feels, I don't know. It feels okay. First of all, these are the things that I always mention to everybody. Because I'm usually a AMA host in communities, I'm actually the Donald for projects usually. And now I'm the other chair.
Donald and not Donald.
Definitely. I'm the Donald, you're the not Donald, although there's already an original Donald, but still, not to digress. Yeah. I mean, it definitely feels interesting. However, you guys know me. I'm never going to be the one guaranteeing that just because I present a project, you guys are going to get rich, or because they hired me to be the professional speaker, they expect, wonders from the project.
Damn it. I've always looked up to you as a financial advisor, and every word that's come out of your mouth, I've always considered it to be good financial advice. So this comes as a shock to me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it comes as a shock to everybody. I mean, I told you guys, I definitely told you guys to buy Bitcoin at 68K. Look at where you would have been now. I mean, if that's not financial advice, nothing is. But again, I mean, that depends. If you turn the chart upside down, not a chance. That's how I look at it.
Just short it.
Definitely. I mean, it's interesting, but at the other hand, it gives me another insight, because by doing so, I feel that I get more connected with the people that work behind the scenes with the project. Not that I'm putting myself into their shoes, of course, because I mean, what do I know? But yeah, it's definitely a good change of pace. It's not my first time. I think I'm going to try and add them in my mind quickly. It's I'm going to say probably eight projects that I'm representing throughout my 6 month or so AMA host professional speaker career. I tend to nitpick when it comes to projects. And to be fairly honest with you guys, there was an opportunity for me to represent one particular project that I'm going to say 99% copied GMT, step in. And I mean, with all the respect, I kind of shared with the guys, it's not going to be a viable match, because at some point people are going to ask me those hard questions. Where did you come up with the idea? And it would not be transparent from my side towards the people that I potentially know to say, listen, this is unique content. I mean, come on, it is what it is. So yeah, I tend to nitpick, and I only choose the projects. First of all, everybody knows we're in this for the financial matter as well. Hired professional speaker. That means we're gaining something. But on the other hand, I'm looking at what can I bring new to you guys. If I'm coming back with the same project over and over, at some point you guys are going to get bored, and you're going to be like, yeah, of course it's Alex. He has that whatever project he has. It's the same project, only the name is changing. So I'm trying to digress from one to the other for as much as possible. Of course, how many times can you reinvent the wheel? Probably, it's only going to be once. You just invented it and be gone with it. But yeah, that's pretty much a summary.
And I find that one thing that I'm noticing is a fairly interesting, well, not necessarily a trend, but I guess kind of a trope in DeFi and crypto in general, is that a lot of now, side point, but basically we all know that English is essentially the international language of business. But a lot of developers and a lot of the programmers, a lot of them come from regions where English may not necessarily be their primary language. But then you get the kind of the catch-22, where when you have a PR person who is hired to represent the project, but they're not necessarily part of the core team, there kind of becomes that disconnect. You kind of get this weird dichotomy. If somebody goes on an AMA and they're the dev of the project, but their English is garbage, investors may not necessarily be that confident. But at the same time, if you have somebody going into an AMA who was, perfect English, but isn't necessarily part of the actual project team, then you also have investors kind of getting wary and confident. So it's almost as if, in order to basically be the ideal, or at least to be able to pitch the ideal project, you basically need to be both the core developer and also, perfectly fluent in English. Basically, everybody who develops crypto is supposed to be coming from North America or some shit. So that being said, what challenges have you found yourself being acting as a project representative? Because I know that I've also had a couple projects come to me, but for me, I would think that it would actually be a lot easier being the one asking the questions than having to be the one answering them.
Well, I mean, there isn't. I don't think there's a right and wrong answer to that. Again, it comes with experience. On my side, I mean, the tough questions not only come before launch. Before launch, everybody wants to know, first of all, marketing. What are you going to do to market this? I don't know what they're expecting, but whatever you answer, you're not going to be able to satisfy 100% of the.
It's never enough.
Yeah, exactly. Although, as I've said, marketing is an ongoing stage for pretty much every project, but still, probably the biggest challenges come after the project launches, either after it's live or during the fair launch, if it doesn't get filled, or during the pre-sale. People actually get the idea that you, as a AMA speaker, although not a part of the team, you have an influential vote somehow in the project, and you can change things. I mean, that's not the case in my perspective, and that's why I always mention, even though I would know that Binance is behind the project, first of all, I'll never mention that. It's definitely, unless I have the authority to do so. Otherwise, I'm not going to mention it. No matter what I know about the project, that it's under NDA, I'm never going to mention it. So I'm never going to say things that are, let's say, a bit more on the surprise side. But I'm never going to guarantee things just because I'm representing it. Listen, I'm
Absolutely.
Alex, and I suggest, not the case.
Because we also seen that a lot of projects, and I'm sorry to cut you out there, it's also been a case in the past with a lot of other projects where if the project goes south, or if the devs suddenly cut and run, then the PR representative is essentially the one holding left holding the bag, because they're the one that everybody interacted with, and they're going to be people's first point of grievance in the event that things don't go their way.
Pretty much. And another challenge, so to say, because we're actually in an AMA, typically when we start the AMAs, whatever community it is, within the first 5 to 10 minutes, we're just casually chatting, discussing, as we're doing right now. Once we get to the utility side, I don't even know if it's good or not towards the community. I mean, I'm not going to have that perception on your side, but I start to get a shitload of DMs. Do you want to book an AMA with us? I want to be hired by your, and I mean, I've always mentioned that I don't have the power and the authority, first of all, to book AMAs as a speaker. How professional would that be from my side to influence the team, book this AMA? I mean, they would probably look at it as I'm doing it for my own interest because I'm getting paid, you see? And the second thing is, even though I'm a hired representative, I don't have the authority to hire people, either moderators or shillers or whatever. So those are two challenges that I constantly see, no matter how the project goes. If it goes up, people are complaining. If it goes down, people are complaining. If it goes a bit sideways until the team develops some utility, people complain. So, I mean, in the end, I have to face facts. I will have some, let's say, not so constructive feedback, some FUD thrown at my side as well. I'm okay with it. It is what it is. We move on. It's part of the job, so to speak.
Exactly. Totally understandable. And especially even when I'm the host of AMAs, for one thing, I've had random people reaching out to me being like, I guess for the group wise, because they just see the admin taking me, they're like, hey, I want to be a moderator for this group or whatever. And I'm like, no, go talk to the people that are actually important. Or, hey, we have shilling services for your token. It's like, what the fuck? I don't have any fucking token. I'm just a community person. Go away. So it's just weird, but then everybody assumes, because you appear to be some sort of figure of authority, therefore you must be the all-encompassing representative of literally everything. But before I digress, before we get too much off topic here, I do want to let's actually get back to probably what most of the people that are listening in here actually want to know, and that is back to the product itself. So, that being said, what exactly is the is the core aspect of InsuranceFi, and what makes it worth investing in?
Definitely. I mean, let's start off by saying, as I did from the beginning, again, thank you for the conversation. I hope you guys understood that this was a friendly one. Hopefully it benefited you as well. The other people here, 65 or 70 people, close to that.
5 away from 69. That would have been so nice.
Hopefully. Let's chill for 4 more. Come on, 5 more.
There we go.
But then, I mean, to talk about the project, of course, I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. It is within its core concept. It's simple and hopefully complex within the long term as well. So it's all going to start by you guys. The fair launch is done. Just to let you know, fair launch is done. SAFU badge was added. KYC, double KYC with contract checker and pink cell, of course. And then audit done by contract checker. So to speak, so that was the part of the fair launch. Close to 1,200 BNBs raised. FOMO kicked in at last minute, exactly as expected, out of 970 contributors. So definitely people went in, people went out as well. There was some selling pressure. The team knew it. The team was expecting it. It faced off in a good way, if you ask me. So the token is live right now. In case you guys wanna dive in, InsuranceFi.io. From there on, you get the white paper, you get the how to buy, pancake swap, chart, pretty much whatever you'd like. To dive in straight into how will you be part of the protocol, of course, as you can imagine, you purchase the token. After that, you have 6 different BUSD staking pools available. That's where it all starts, in the staking pools. Once you decide to stake, 6 different staking pools, as I've mentioned, you need to choose, the period. So 15 days, the minimum one is 15 days, 50% return. 30 days, 100% return. 60 days, 200%. 90 days, 300%. 120 days, 600%. And the big jackpot winner, if you guys are, let's say, patient enough, 360 days staking, 1,200% APR. The same thing that I was mentioning in the beginning. Once you choose that particular period which suits your interest best, you're gonna be informed. A pop-up is gonna be shared on your screen, informing you have an option to sign our insurance contract. If you choose no, you go from there 15 days, 30 days. You just wait for the API returns and be done with it. If you choose yes, a 10% of your initial staking value will be deducted as a tax. We're going to cover where does that money go, of course, in a second. And then your insurance is activated, so to speak, by the contract. What exactly does that mean? You're wondering. Well, from here on, you actually have 2 options. The price goes up, the price goes down. Simple as that. Let's cover the usual
Sounds
one.
Pretty good options.
Pretty much, yeah. Let's cover the usual one. The price goes down. Price goes down for whatever reason. Your selling pressure, a market goes down, you have a dip, whatever the case might be. What happens when the price goes down? Now, our correlation is the native token to BNB. So we're taking that into reference. Once you have, so let's take into account the fact that you're depositing 1,000 tokens. 1,000 tokens into the vault, whatever period you're choosing. Now, at the end of the period, 15 days or 30 days, instead of you getting back your 1,000 tokens worth of value, so your native token to BNB pairing, that particular price went down 10%, 20%, 30%. And although you're getting your 50% as an APR, you're thinking, okay, but I'm actually down 30%, for example, on my initial investment. That went down. Our insurance fund is actually going to kick in and cover that particular difference for you. So, I mean, to put it into perspective, if you were to lose 10% on that 1,000 tokens, you're going to be able to... Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, a little one.
I see that maybe... I see there's probably a baby InsuranceFi in the works after this.
Well, I mean, when it comes to my kid, I don't know what she was doing, but I think she hit herself. But still, mom's on duty for sure. So, I mean, once you are looking at...
mom was on insurance for that.
Once you're looking at the 1,000 tokens into the vault and you're losing the 10%, our fund is going to kick in. You're going to be able to withdraw your initial 1,000 tokens, therefore recovering it, and the other 110 as a reward. So that's pretty much how the 10% loss is being covered. Again, 10%, 20%, up to 99%. But again, I mean, 99% would be a disaster, so to speak, because we're looking at our pairing native token to BNB. So if that particular let's say pairing goes down 99%, you're not pretty much left with anything. But if it goes down 10%, 20%, whatever the case might be, you got the fund to cover you. That's how the whole insurance protocol started. But the team also said, listen, you're going to sign your insurance contract by paying, of course, the 10% fee. What happens, you let's say you choose 15 days. So that's 50% return in 2 weeks duration. But then what happens if we get a huge bump in the chart and our native token 2BNB goes up with 50%, for example? Automatically, you would be eligible for earnings faster than your 15 days of staking. So then what will happen as a protocol, your insurance contract is going to be liquidated. You're not going to be insured anymore. And from there on, you're thinking, okay, but I can earn my 50% at the moment. Definitely you can, because you can pay an early unlock fee of 10%. So at this particular moment in time, Donald, you're down 20%, but you're going to claim your rewards on 50% and you're plus 30% on your investment. So that's pretty much the logic, in which is, it's definitely accounted for. If it goes down, which of course is natural as in the first logic, how the protocol started to be built, but also to kind of cover the margin if it goes up in such a value, because you got your AMAs, you got your calls by the channels, you got your Twitter partners. Pretty much every marketing strategy can actually bump the price up. So you want to make sure that it makes it fair for everybody. If I'm staking for 300%, and there's a way for me to gain 300%, not at the end of 90 days, but in 10 days, then of course there's a tax implied on that, but I'm gaining my returns faster. Again, for a token to actually go up 300%, within the current conditions, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's unlikely, so to speak. Depends on the type of chart that you want to obtain, because it goes up and it goes down pretty much within the same rate. One thing that I want to mention here is that the mainnet build is going to be available starting from the 8th. So tomorrow is the official deployment of the mainnet. Reason for which you guys are looking at the chart and you're thinking it went down. Well, it went down for various reasons. It went down with the market, it went down with the price, whatever the case might be. But because, and I don't want to offend anyone, we as BSC traders are growing impatient. We're looking at utility within the first 24, 48 hours. If it's not there, we're selling, we're moving on. When this
people just can't hold it anymore.
Exactly. And I'm not judging anyone. It's definitely, that's why it wasn't any investing on the tokens. People had the funds, upfront. Everybody was free to do what they want with their tokens. But to mention that, mainnet is going to be available starting tomorrow with the staking BUSD pools and insurance contract. That's pretty much how it started. Now to cover a bit, probably the follow-up question, but again, how are you going to be able to manage it in a long term? The logic behind this is, I'm going to share two variables. First of all, not everybody will be available for an insurance contract. There's going to be limited spaces, limited seats at the table, so to say. The team has actually tried to accomplish that within the past a month or so. They've been testing their mainnet on the BSC testnet to make sure that it encompasses every single variable, of course. But then also, because they're limited numbers, you're thinking, okay, but still, what if you're allowing 500 people to join in? How are you gaining the funds to sustain that particular reward? On each of the pools, of course, it goes up or it goes down. Well, this particular insurance fund has one way of depleting funds, which is compensating for investors. That's its purpose. That's its main utility and only utility. The funds inside the fund. Funds inside the fund. Interesting plan.
Yo, dog, I heard you like funds.
There you go. The money, okay, let's say the money inside the fund is only going to be used to compensate the investors. But there are multiple ways, multiple sources of income for this particular fund, such as the insurance contract that I was mentioning at the beginning. You pay 10% on your initial staking value to activate that. The 10% goes back into the fund. Early unlock fee that I was mentioning and insurance liquidation, both of them are going to go back into the fund as redistribution to make sure that we kind of cover it in a circle and make sure the funds are still there. Tax from trading volume. I'm going to cover the taxes when I go to the tokenomics, of course. And then 20%, of course, this is the big chunk. 20% of the total supply is allocated for the native, from the native token strictly into this particular fund. So you're looking at 5 various income sources for this particular fund to function, to work, and to kind of cover that midterm to long-term aspect of the protocol. Hopefully we're gonna get that. We're gonna get there within good market conditions as well. That's always a variable that you need to take into account. If you guys want to check the compensation formula in depth, take a look on the white paper calculating compensation. It's a strict topic on the left side. I think it's the sixth or seventh topic. It's pure mathematics. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with numbers and how they add up, but still, if you guys want to check it in depth, it's there.
As long as our numbers add up to bigger than we started, I think we'll all be happy.
Exactly. I mean, that was pretty much. And again, it goes up and it goes down, of course, but the logic is for pretty much the investors to at least be sure that whatever happens, although it's not a big chunk on the plus side, but it's something and you're not losing. For me, at the end of the day, if I make an investment, well, not at the end of the day, because I don't invest from one day to the other, but if I hold the token, let's say for 6 months, at the end of that period, if at least I'm able to break even, all that I've wasted is actually my time. That's pretty much it. And not even my time, because I'm not the one to check the charts. Maybe once a month, twice a month, depends on the token. But I mean, that was the concept behind it. It goes up. You have a way of winning. It goes down, which of course you're kind of concerned from the beginning. You have a way of winning. And I mean, there's also an additional incentive to be implemented within the D app. The referral program, of course, for each and every one of those stakers. They're going to be allowed to access the referral program, generate your QR code, your referral link for sure, invite others, friends, family, colleagues, whatever, to join the protocol. 5 levels, each of them with different commissions. The higher the level, the biggest the commission, of course. And then how are you going to be able to level up? Pretty straightforward from there. You're going to invite a person. Let's take, for example, me and you, Donald. I'm going to invite you to join the protocol.
Thank you.
First time that you're the first time, hopefully, because I mean, I'm going to invite you, you're going to accept, but then for me to gain a level,
make me an offer I can't refuse.
Hopefully. I mean, let's take this the Godfather way, without killing a horse, of course. If you guys don't know the movie, I mean, come on, it's a classic.
Take the horse, leave the cannolis.
I mean, the first time that you're actually going to withdraw your own rewards from the staking pool, from the vault, I'm going to gain a level, you're going to gain a level. And from there on, I can either rely on more people invited by myself or on more people invited by yourself until I get to level 5. From there on, I'm just concerned about inviting more people to gain more commission, and you as well. That's pretty much the logic between the referral program. To be fairly honest, I'm not going to make it bigger than it is. It's pretty straightforward, but you need to build a social network to make sure that it fully works and it gets you to that highest commission. Definitely the rewards are going to be calculated in real time, of course, depending on your level and commission percentage, and going to be transferred to the respective accounts on a daily basis. They're going to be available, of course, on the D app. Thing to be developed still, not fully implemented at the moment. And then the long-term perspective, this is where actually they actually caught my interest. They're planning on bridging real-life utility over from the classic insurance industries over to smart contracts. I would say so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it is for you guys. For me in my country, I don't know if you attended other AMAs, you probably know this example. Classic one. I had to purchase an insurance policy once I bought my own place. And within 31 years of living in this country, I've only encountered 3, maybe 4 earthquakes. So you would think it shouldn't be at the top risk on an insurance policy, and yet it was. So I took this to my broker after 2 weeks. I think it took them 2 weeks to assess the factors, analyze and appraise the risks, and bring me back a couple of policies. All of them with the same factors. I think it was flooding. What was it?
Fire,
flood, and earthquakes. Earthquakes being the number 3. And I was like, dude, 4 earthquakes in 31 years, and you put that at the top? I mean, it doesn't make sense. They couldn't rely on a valid explanation. It is what it is, basically. You either purchase it or purchase it because you're obligated by your legislation and government. So guess what? I purchased it, but it wasn't actually transparent to me, and it was a shitload of money, to be fairly honest. Again, it was a good policy. I'm pretty much covered. I'm not expecting an earthquake pretty much soon. Hopefully it's not going to come. But basically, this protocol is going to try and develop a artificial intelligence platform to be powered, of course, by artificial intelligence that can actually analyze and appraise those risks, taking into account multiple aspects. Where do you live? What country? What area? Pretty much a bit of history, of course, maybe not 31 years back, but still to kind of make it analogical. If there has been, let's say, one earthquake in the past 10 years, it's not a high factor. It's not a high risk. Everything is going to be taken into account. There, of course, a broker is going to review that at the end and pretty much send it forward with a couple of other policies for you to sign, seal, and deliver, pay it, and be done with it. That's that's one way of bridging over traditional contracts and DApps over to smart contracts. Definitely, I mean, in order to actually accomplish this vision, they will need to apply for more utility on the native token, or expanded development on the InsuranceFi ecosystem, and definitely to spread to other aspects such as virtual assets, NFTs, of course, and cross-chain investments. The last one being probably the most important, because if you think of as, I don't know, whatever other insurance company you can think of, maybe they are already affiliated or partnered up with a Solana project. We would need to be there with our own Solana smart contract in order to approach them and say, listen, do you want to partner up? I mean, this is what we can do. You're in insurance industry. If you actually want to implement your utility over to the blockchain, we can bring that forward. You don't only need to be partnered up as name partner with whatever Solana protocol. You can actually be a part of crypto by implementing your utilities, your electronic contracts and DApps over to smart contracts by using our protocol. And, so on and so forth. It's definitely a long-term vision. I'm not going to say this is achievable in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years, but eventually it's going to be turned. The Infinity Chain is going to be built into a separate POS blockchain for the insurance industries to be a part of. And, eventually to bridge that particular utility and bring the revolution to the insurance industry. A one-of-a-kind protocol, if you ask me. I have never heard of something like this until today. So yeah, that's pretty much the utility. I'm going to say, long story short, but that's not the case. That ship has sailed. That's what the team envisioned. That's what they have in mind. And that's how they plan to make it work. Again, token is live right now. A dip in the price as it was normal because the utility is only going to be developed starting tomorrow and live, on the market. And yeah, I think people are going to get back drawn into the protocol, but it is what it is. We'll live and see.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I just wanted to jump in with, and one question I have, just to clarify for myself and maybe those of listening that are looking at the kind of the namesake of the project more at a face value. The insurance aspect that's associated with the project, then, is it strictly associated with the native token for this protocol? Because as opposed to any other financial asset, any other crypto asset that is out there, or is it that there are these staking pools that people can put pretty much anything into and be insured for?
Initially, of course, it's only going to be the native token. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward why, but still, first of all, the team needs to understand what kind of traction do they have. Once the mainnet is there, once the BUSD pools are live, let's see how many people stake in the 15 days, how many people stake in the 360 days, to take the opposite. What do people want? Because, it all comes down to the community and to your, I think right now we're looking at close to 900 holders still. What are they going to be attracted mostly to? Is it going to be the lowest side of the staking pools? And then maybe there's a way of implementing other utilities. But definitely, once once you're able to bridge, you're able to actually attract other tokens. For now, I don't know if it's the case with other BSC tokens. They haven't mentioned any other protocol being bridged over to us at the moment. But probably an idea for the future. But for now, we're going to rely only on the native token for sure.
Excellent. Thank you much for the clarification on that. That being said, that is the end of the questions that I'm going to put forward myself. We are now going to go ahead and we're going to open the floor to questions from the studio audience. So if you have a question you'd like to ask for the InsuranceFi team, you're welcome to either raise your hand in the voice chat or post your question in text chat. Tag me at JohnultronDump, of course. And just please be advised that in the interest of time, please limit your questions to one question per post or hand raise, and please try and keep your questions relevant to the project being asked in order to avoid being skipped. So we're going to start off the community questions with the voice chat. We're going to start with Neymar Jr. Please go ahead. Neymar Jr., you are unmuted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Not yet. Please turn your microphone up. Otherwise, you're going to have to pass.
Okay, sir,
Much
my
better.
question is, can you expand our knowledge about your roadmap this year and the future, and any update on your research and development progress?
So the roadmap, I'm actually going to stop you right there. The roadmap has already been discussed earlier in the AMA. Alex, you're welcome to elaborate on that if you wish. Otherwise, we can skip it.
Can I ask another question, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
Give me a second, okay. Neymar. Let's keep that one as a question, just for me to be able to develop briefly on the roadmap. Basically, what the team has done so far, so you guys can get the perspective. First of all, CG was aside for the fair launch. We mentioned the fair launch, that's done and dusted. I'm going to skip the deployment of the contract white paper website. That's obvious since we're looking at a launch token. Interesting things that you guys might be interested in. This is the 11th, I think, AMA. So AMA with every single top tier 1 channel over the space. Pretty much to raise awareness, to make you guys understand what the protocol is, and the next one, and the next one, and so on and so forth. Not only for the price value, but once the utility kicks in, for other communities to not to wonder, okay, who the hell is InsuranceFi? Oh, we know it's the protocol that, and that's pretty much the aspect. You guys know where I'm going with this. That was a part of the pre-launch marketing as well. Of course, we came into the fair launch and listing itself, which I think it was a good listing. Selling pressure came, and this is where we are right now. Centralized exchanges already done. So, Asbit and CoinsBit already done. You can trade the token on 2 centralized exchanges, and that was done within the first 48 hours of the token launch. CG and CMC, of course, CG was available within the first hour, CMC within the first 24.
Nice.
And that's to sum up your question, Neymar.
Sir, can I ask one more question?
Go ahead, but just keep it quick, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, partnership and collaboration are backbone in making every project more inspired. Can you list some of your partner with us?
I'm not actually sure if it was on my end, but all that I could understand is if I can list any
partnership, sir. Partnership. Your partnership list.
Well, the list actually so far, because I've mentioned we're actually at the start of the journey. I would say that we have 3 main partners. Okay, 4. So Nabox is the first one, blockchain supporter and developer. Asbit is the second one, of course, our listing. CoinsBit is the third one. Okay, 5 maybe. Contract Checker is the 4th one. And then, of course, PinkSale, because they've been 100% supportive from the beginning. I would definitely list them as a partner for the long perspective. Let me know if this answers the question for sure.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Neymar Jr. for your question. Moving over to the text chat, we have Abdul Rahim, who asks, in this bear market, how does your team sustain the InsuranceFi token with the huge staking APY of 1,200% over 365 days? Considering a lot of projects are shutting down because of poor sustainability of their token, how can you convince investors that the InsuranceFi token is not a scam due to the huge APY that you are providing from staking? Oh, you're muted, Alex. Did we lose you or did we lose me?
You guys didn't hear me, right?
Correct. You were muted, so we didn't hear you now.
actually lost connection for, I think it was 30 seconds. You cut off extremely bad, my man. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but
No
can
worries.
you repeat? No, I'm sorry, my man.
That's all good. Abdul Rahim asks, in this bear market, how does your team sustain the InsuranceFi token with the huge staking APY of 1,200% over 365 days? Considering a lot of projects are shutting down because of poor sustainability of their token, how can you convince investors that the InsuranceFi token is not a scam due to the huge APY that you provide from staking?
I mean, I'm not a fan of, that's just me. I'm not a fan of the word convincing. But still, I mean, to basically try and reply to this particular question that I've received in, numerous times within the best of my abilities. Again, this is probably my vision that I'm trying to bring over to you guys. If you were to, let's say, choose the staking protocol for 360 days, at the end of that, think about it this way. 360 days means next year, this time. If the team doesn't develop anything until then, probably there's no sustainability, there's no traction, and pretty much you're not even going to get to the end of your 360 days because the project's going to shut down if they don't develop anything. However, looking at the roadmap, and I did mention the referral program, the part where we're looking at I don't know if I mentioned this, but they're looking at a CertiK application to be completed within Q3, a mobile application as well, insurance assets to be listed as well, and the DApp to be upgraded to V2. I'm not entirely familiar with what V2 is going to encompass aside for the referral. So I'm going to probably say, we're going to have to wait and see until they do that. That's only until the end of Q3 as a start from the team. Starting Q4 with limited to, let's say, options towards the end of the year. Everybody knows investors take some well-deserved time at the end of the year, but strictly within the Q4 period, they will be looking to start already the testnet of Infinity Chain, the insurance category expansion, the cross-chain update to see what would be the perfect match and how will the testing go for the platform, for the Infinity Chain, for the partners, of course. The partner protocol sign up. I understood that they're trying to build a community strictly for the partners to be a part of, and further development of the ecosystem. So, I mean, if this happens, in a good market condition, let's say even within the current market condition, we're going to bring more traction, more volume. YouTube and TikTok calls are going to be on board to present the project. So this is the vision that the team is trying to bring forward, that within all these marketing strategies and roadmap and pretty much path progression that they actually implied within the roadmap, traction will come, therefore volume will come, therefore everything will be put into place to actually cover that. Again, honestly, with all the honesty, out of 850, let's say, holders, I think there are less than 10% that will actually be, let's say, choosing the 360 days as a staking. Think if you guys want to do a quick research, look at the top 10 or top 20 altcoins and what periods do they have as a staking chosen on their own platforms, not on Binance. For Cardano, there's less than 0.5% people that actually chose to stake for 90 days. So think about it. How many people chose to stake for 360 days? And it's Cardano. I mean, what I'm trying to say by this is that people don't like long periods. However, if you like long, winnings, and again, with of course, with a speculation on the contract, because that's activated and can get liquidated as well, you're definitely able to choose from 6. Each and every one of you can do what they want, but I think this is the plan that they have. This is what they shared to me. This is their vision. And definitely, I mean, another top 10 centralized exchange listing is in progress to be announced within Q4 as well, to make sure that I mentioned that. And probably more and more partners along the way. We'll see how things progress, of course. Hopefully this answers the question. I missed the name, but yeah.
It's all good. Thank you very much for the response. Thank you, Abdul Rahim, for your question. We're going to go back over to the voice chat. We are going to go with Benga. Benga, please go ahead and ask your question. Benga, you're unmuted, sir.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, man. Hope I'm audible enough. My question is, going through the platform, I see that you said you'll be having token. If the token is down by 10%, then you lost 10% of your investment, you will do the replacement with respect to the insurance plan. What if the token is down and I lost more than 10% of my investment? What will happen? Like, let's assume, because this is crypto, anything can happen at any fucking time. Let's assume I lost 50% of my investment. Will the insurance still cover that?
Hey, my man. Hey, Jubenga. I don't even know. For me, it's Jubenga. So yeah, definitely. I did actually mention this, my man. Yes, I mean, within the proper conditions, people would think, okay, if it goes up, and your question is actually a legit one, if it goes down by more than 10%, the protocol, the insurance fund, due to 5 different various sources of income, has the capability, that's how it's tested at the moment, to recover from 10% up to 99% of the losses. But take into account one thing. We're not correlating the native token to BUSD. We're correlating to the pairing of BNB. So if by any chance it goes down 99%, definitely there's probably a big crash in the market. So to happen, it's not only the value of our token that's going to affect that. It's also the value of BNB correlated with our token. That's why the team actually felt confident that 99% can be covered, because 99%, just to make that statement, wouldn't mean that your token is at zero value. Otherwise, you wouldn't actually have the funds to cover that. It just means that the correlation to BNB suffered a 99% decrease. And yes, indeed, it has the capabilities to cover up to 99% for sure.
Okay, awesome. I think that is lovely. It's actually nice having Alex from this side of the hammer. I know Alex will never speak for any project that he hasn't done his own research on it. That's why I'm bullish on this project. Thanks for the opportunity, not do that trust. That's great, man.
Thank you, brother. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Benga, for your question. Now, we're moving close to the end of the AMA, so we only have time for one more question from the community. I do just want to point out as an aside that I have noticed that a couple of you have been DMing me directly, mentioning that you have a question. Now, that being said, a lot of people in this AMA happen to have questions, so you're not really any different from anyone else. In fact, DMing me directly not only will not get your question asked any faster than anybody else who is asking questions AMA, but it'll actually make me less likely to answer your question because you're going out of your way to contact me directly for this. And that is something that I actually don't appreciate. So that being said, once again, if you DM me telling you that you have a question, I will most likely not be answering your question. So the last person that we are going to go with for a question from the community is Angeli Christie, who asks, I saw that the InsuranceFi project was audited and KYC'd by PinkSale. Also, their fair launch on PinkSale was very successful with over 1,000 BNB raised. For future plans, what is the name of the InsuranceFi chain which allows life insurance company developers to access smart contracts and develop their dApps?
Basically, how I understood it, a bit more about the Infinity chain in detail, right?
Right. Yeah, I believe that's the nature of the question.
Well, I mean, the Infinity chain per se, as I've mentioned, it's not only a protocol of allowing insurance industries to bridge over. It's being envisioned at the moment as its own separate POS blockchain for those particular insurance industries to be active upon and to bring the solution to the problems that I've mentioned. The fact that whenever you're trying to sign or research a insurance policy, the terms and conditions or the risk appraisals or even the risk factors may not be transparent, and there are some cumbersome procedures to be taken until you actually reach that particular policy. Mm-hmm. The Infinity chain is going to be built, of course, as I mentioned, as a separate blockchain, but at its core foundation is going to be envisioned as a trusted decentralized platform, trusted because it's going to have a separate audit on it, of course, and a separate contract, so to speak. And definitely going from there, it's going to be powered by an artificial intelligence software that's capable of doing a percentage of the work, at least the appraisal risk and the analysis on the contracts, to be further reviewed by the particular insurance industries, and therefore shortening the time in which they will typically do this and presenting it in a transparent way. It's a long-term perspective, as I've mentioned. It's a long vision for the team. But again, they will start to work upon this from Q4 with the testnet of the Infinity Chain and to bridge it over to 2023 as a functional concept. And starting off from an idea, putting it exactly onto the proper blockchain, expansion on the multi-chain, and eventually developing it into its full blockchain. More to be revealed because that's the let's say the full information that I have on the Infinity Chain. I hope it does answer the question.
Excellent. Thank you much for the response, and thank you, Angelica Christie, for your question. That being said, that is fortunately all the time we have for questions from the studio audience. So if you did not have the opportunity to have your question answered during tonight's AMA, you're welcome to hop over to the official InsuranceFi Telegram channel at InsuranceFi_official. Ask any further questions that you have in there, and the devs and the mod team will be happy to answer them at that time. So that being said, before we close out tonight's segment, Alex, do you have any final statements that you'd like to make to your one and only Phoenix Holdings community?
Well, as always, my man, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure for me, and I hope it was a pleasure for you guys as well. Thanks to everybody who attended this AMA. Hopefully it was engaging. It was, let's say, educational from a perspective in which you gain some knowledge on a new project. If it's good for you or not, that's for you to decide, each and every one of you. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for hosting us, Donald. It was definitely a pleasure. With this particular AMA, we will be closing our first cycle of 11 AMAs. The team is looking right now to expand on YouTube, on TikTok. If there are more to come, for sure, we will probably try to book a follow-up AMA with Phoenix once the mainnet is live and more utilities are there. Until then, what I can say is, as always, a pleasure to be here. Thanks to everybody who attended. Thank you for the questions. Hope it was a pleasure to you guys as well. And definitely looking forward to talk to you guys again in the near future.
It was an absolute pleasure to meet you as well, sir. And one thing I just want to say as well, it seems like there's a universal constant, even in the crypto space, that no matter how many friends you make, no matter how long you've known certain friends for, there's always going to be at least one friend of yours that comes along and tries to sell you insurance. So, that being said, hopefully. I just want to thank you. Hopefully. But that being said, it was absolute pleasure getting to have time with you. Getting to join you on the other side of the microphone, actually get the time to talk with you in the space for a change, and it was definitely refreshing for me, I got to say. So, obviously, it was an absolute pleasure having you here in the Phoenix Holdings studio. Thank you again. We wish you all the best for your project.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. And I speak on behalf of the team. Thanks to Phoenix Holdings. Talk to you guys soon. I'm going to disconnect right now because I need to jump on the next one. Thanks, you guys. Take care. Bye for now.
Have a good day, Alex. And give it up once again for Alex from InsuranceFi. So, now that you hear from the team, it's time for you to decide. Are you bullish on this project? Or are you bearish? Will you ape in? Or will you jeet out? And with that brings us to the end of another episode of Late Night Live with Not Donald Trump. Thank you again to Phoenix Holdings for the opportunity to have us in your studio tonight, and thank you all for tuning in with us. Have a good night, and we'll see you all next time. Reminder, help control the teen population.